Okay, so what you're looking at is my 2 back panels. There's my seam, there's my shoulder going around to the front. I'm about to do that neck ribbing first round. So still taking your bigger hook, your 5.5, and your main color yarn, we will attach our yarn here at the seam. Now I just like to attach it there, right in that seam. Pull up a little loop, chain 1, and now we are simply going to single crochet around. Now this, on the edge you'll have a chain 2 space and a single, a chain 2 space and a single. Those are the ends of your rows. We want to go ahead and single crochet in each of them. So there's our first chain 2, and I always place a marker there to make sure I do my join in the right stitch, and I like to work over this tail. Now there's a single crochet. I go right in the middle of that body of the single crochet under both loops, just to keep things nice and neat. There, working over the tail as I go. So there's my second single crochet. Now there's a single crochet, so that is that chain 2 space. I just go right in it, my third single, and then the fourth will go into that next single again. Fifth into the chain space, sixth into that body of the single crochet. That's my 15th stitch, and there is my 16th stitch. That was my first row of that panel. So you can see it goes into that chain. I prefer to skip that one and go into that chain just to tighten it up a bit. You can go into that single and then into your next available single. Just remember that that chain that you went into, you're already working there. So I go into that chain space, skipping that last single, and then I work in my stitches. So I work in that next single crochet that's available, and in the next space. This is those stitches that you skipped, the 25 stitches you skipped, working towards the front panel. Now I've done my last single crochet on those 25 skip stitches. There it is, and here's my first single of this decrease line right there for the front of the neck. So you're going to place one single in each end of the row, so you'll have, and then there's the straight piece, and you'll place an extra stitch in that seam. So in the side, working in the side, there we go. 2, just be careful here. Go slow, because you want to be sure you go into each row. Every second row will be a little bit harder to go into. 4, easy. into space. Now notice we are at the seam. This row is, it feels like it's part of the seam. That's still a row. Round, you want to have the right amount of stitches. If you're struggling to get it, it's basically one stitch per row, but because you have those seams, you have to go in there as well. And if you see you've got one stitch missing, just add it on the next round or add it on this round. It's not a train smash. Just try to be as neat as possible going around this edge. Now we're up to this next side of the neckline. We've gone into a single, so there's a chain space. Or is it a single? So it's actually a turning single also there. One. Side is always a little bit harder for me than the first one. Now the bottom hem will be exactly the same, except there's no shaping, so you simply go into that chain space and next you go into the single. Easy. If you're struggling with this, it's actually better to start with the bottom hem, but I am just going to show you this one because the same thing applies on the bottom. Now I'm up to that second shoulder. This part is nice and easy because you've got your unworked stitches, one single crochet in each chain, and one single crochet in each single crochet. Again, working across, and then I'll work my way around the last back panel and do my invisible join. Okay, so just to clarify exactly where your stitches go, starting at your back seam or on just the left of your back seam, in that back seam where it's comfortable for you, chain one, and now we're going to single crochet around. I did that. I just want to explain where I put my stitches. So if you had 16 rows, the one row will kind of fall towards the back, so you'll have 15 single crochets, one stitch less. Then you do your 25 stitches towards the front panel on those 16 rows. If you're a larger size and you have 18 rows, you will have 17 stitches. On the smaller sizes with 16 rows, you will have 15 stitches. Place an extra one in that seam, 15 again, 25 up the shoulder, and 15 across the back, one in the seam, and now we are ready to do our invisible join. There's my last single crochet. I pulled up my loop, and there's my first one. I want to go ahead and insert my hook from the back to the front and pull up those loops with the working yarn below my hook. Put this little working loop back on and pull it through. Now you're going to chain one with your contrast color and your smaller hook and do your single crochets around. I'll meet you once we're around to do that ribbing.